Page 104, Sleeping Beauty Waltz. It's the top of the page introducing you to the third accidental sign we have, and that's a natural. We have sharps, flats, and naturals. It looks a little weird. It's sort of like that hashtag thing, that incomplete this time. And it simply means it takes the sharp or flat away. You play the natural note or the white key. That's all. Because the rule is when you do a sharp or flat add it in a measure, it applies for the rest of the measure. Well, if later on in the same measure you didn't want it anymore, you wanted a natural, you'd have to put a natural sign in to take it away, is what it's for. Once you cross the bar line into another measure, it doesn't matter because it goes away anyway. Look on page 105 in the second line. It's the last measure, measure 20. In the left hand, you have an A, a B flat, and then you see the natural sign of B and natural. So it's here. So they didn't, otherwise both B's would be B flats. And that's the way it worked. Now a little bit about the history of accidentals and the rules. Music has evolved over the years. And originally the rules on accidentals was totally different than it is today. And it's caused problems. It used to be this up and prior to the 1700s, or the first half of the 1700s. It's in the middle of the 1700s or so when it changed, somewhere in there. And it took time to change. It wasn't an overnight change. It took decades to change. But prior to that, the rule for, they didn't have a natural sign. They didn't need it. Because the rule was when you did a sharp or a flat for a note, it applied from that point on for the rest of the piece. Measures didn't count. I mean, a long time ago they didn't even have measures. It didn't matter. But it would apply, and it was a relative. It wasn't absolute. It was a relative value. So if they introduced a sharp to a note, say you had an A, and they wanted an A sharp, they'd put a sharp sign in front of the A, and that takes it up to an A sharp, and that would be an A sharp for the rest of the piece. Well, later on, if they wanted an A natural again, they would put a flat in front of it to take it down. So the sharp just took the note up a half step, the flat took it down a half step from where it was. That's why I mean by relative. So if I had an A and I wanted an A sharp, I'd do that. And then later I want an A natural, then I'd do an A flat. That takes this back down. And that's the way they worked back then. Then it changed where now they're absolute. An A sharp is an A sharp, period. An A flat is an A flat, period. That's down here. And a natural sign then takes it away. So just a little history so you know. You can Google it and read all about the history of music and all that. So as far as this waltz goes, I'm going to take this one hand at a time. It's a little tricky. Start with the right hand. You're starting out with a 2 here and a 4 here, so you're in C position. And so they're together. I'm just lowering the hand down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. By the way, this is in 3/4 time, which I forgot to mention, but it is. Second line, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, rest. And then that's tied for 2 measures. And then the last measure, it's an F. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now the thumb, they got a circle around it, but your thumb is still on, has always been on the C, so it's just here. And then the next measure, you're using 3rd finger on the E flat. So here, so we had to use 2nd finger because we used 3rd finger already. We don't want to use it again. We want to connect the notes. So we use 2nd finger, and then thumb, now 3rd finger. That puts us back into position. So really the thumb is in position, it's the 2nd finger that's out of position. Then, let's go down to the 3rd line. You're here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And you notice it's a flat. It's tied to a note in the next measure. And this is one of the, there's an exception to almost every rule, whatever. But this is the time where an accidental carries over the bar line. Because I told you before, an accidental at the bar line, it goes away. Well, this is an exception to that. When it's a tied note, you keep the note as it is. So that 3rd or 4th measure, that E, That is still an E flat. So it's a 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, and then the eighth notes 2 and 3 and 2 and 3, like so. Left hand, starting here, looks like we're going to be in middle C position again here. So it's 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And this next measure is the B natural, and then you have the F and the A. Again, I'm lowering the hand down. Here, top of page 105, it's a G and a B flat. Boy, next line down, B natural, and then going on. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're a little out of position here because of that, but that's okay. We'll get back there, and the next line you're here, because once you reach there, you're in position again. Now, a little bit about these natural signs. A lot of times editors or publishers will use what we call a courtesy sign. A courtesy, they're just being nice to you. Yeah. They're being helpful. They're just reminding you. It's like on page 104 in the second line. In the second measure you have a B with a natural sign in front of it. The natural sign isn't necessary. It's a natural anyway. They're just being nice to you because prior to that, the last time you played a B, it was a B flat, if you look prior to it. And they're just saying, oh, by the way, this is a natural. A lot of times when they do a courtesy sign, they'll put it in parentheses. And that tells you, oh, by the way, it's this. Well, when you get over to page 105 in the second line, again, that B, that natural, it's a B natural anyway. You don't need the sign. But they're being nice to you because you've been doing B flats so much. But at the end of the second line on that one, that natural sign is needed, or it would be a B flat. In the third line down on measure 22, they give you a natural sign. Again, you don't need a natural sign. It's a B natural anyway. They're just being nice to you and reminding you, by the way, it's a B natural. Then at the end, the last line, the last two measures, that B flat, it's tied, so it's going to be a B flat for 6 counts. You just hang on to it. Whatever. Put the hands together. Good luck. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So go through the whole piece at your speed, not my speed. You can go slower than that and work it out so you've got the hands working together. If you're hesitating anywhere, work on those spots and get rid of the hesitation. You don't want hesitations. The beat has to be steady. People are more or less dancing to this. Then we go back and we add the articulation. Well, you have staccatos mostly and slurs. You're going to connect the melody. All that's connected, but you got these staccatos. A nice light wrist staccato or hand staccato. So it's do the staccatos and do all the slurs. Look on the second line on page 105. The first two measures. So you want silence between the C and the G because it's a different slur, just like taking a breath. So put in the silence between the slurs. And the third line down. The first three measures are connected. Lift up before you do the eighth notes. And that note, by the way, in the left hand is not staccato. Just the first two are. But lift up, both hands up before you do the eighth note so we get a little silence. It's like taking a breath. So again, at the beginning of the line. So here they didn't give you B naturals. You don't need it, but I'm just... Then we add the dynamics. You're starting out moderately loud. They give you 2 dynamics. You don't need 2 dynamics. 1 dynamic, apply it to the melody, and you make everything else fit. So this is moderately loud, whatever that is. You keep these soft. You do it anyway. See here, it's all melody in the second line. So it's all moderately loud. Here, now the left hand gets the chords, keep them soft. You don't need the P there, I mean you do it anyway. You should do it. Now the right hand has the melody. Then on page 105, on the 3rd line down, you have that hairpin to get louder. You're going to go up to loud. I suggest you come down. They have you at moderately loud all throughout all of this, and you go up to loud. There's not a lot of difference between moderately loud and loud. So in this case, you can come down maybe moderately soft. Now 3rd measure, go up to moderately loud. Now go up to, that's where the crescendo needs to happen. And then you're loud. The left hand is softer than that. Just, I don't know how softer, just softer than that. And you get soft at the end, whatever. Experiment. You got to get to know it well enough that you can kind of feel it, and then you'll feel the dynamics. I would encourage you to go listen to the orchestra play it and hear how they do the dynamics, and that help you interpret it. Now the only pedal they've added is at the end. I see no reason to have pedal in this piece at all if you're only going to use it at the end. I want to die away and get soft, and the pedal actually works against that because it adds the overtones. I don't want to do all of this clean with no overtones and then all of a sudden at the end add overtones. I don't understand. I don't even agree with that. If I'm going to add pedal at the end, I'm going to pedal the rest of it, because we can pedal these other measures. All of these dotted half note areas, we could pedal all of those. You can try it and see what you think. Experiment with the sound. But otherwise, I would not pedal at the end. I don't agree with that. If you do pedal it at the end, go ahead and continue to do the technique for the staccatos, even though they're covered up. Here. Now, speed-wise, andante is your nice leisurely stroll. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I think that's too slow for this piece. I disagree with that. I would take this a lot faster than that. Listen to the orchestras play it and you get an idea how fast. This is more like a fast, moderate type thing. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's the flow of the piece. It's not how fast the beat goes. One final thing I want to add here is these natural accents. I haven't really been talking much about natural accents. They're really important. You feel the natural accent. They happen naturally. Otherwise, it's not a natural accent. And the strongest one is always the first beat of a measure. And in 3/4 time, you want to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We want to feel that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't force it. Feel it, and you'll play it as you feel it. You get to know the piece well enough that you can be comfortable enough that you can actually start feeling the music, and that's where the magic happens. I'd like to play this with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do the dynamics, but I'll give us 3 counts, so let's just make sure we got the notes and the rhythms correct. You can always play it with me one hand at a time if you need to. 1, ready, go. 2, duet at the bottom of the page for this. I'd like to play that, and you play what you just played, but again, need you to go up an octave. So just pretend middle C goes up here, and instead of here, you're in this middle C, you're in this middle C position. So play it all up here. I'll give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. And 3 in.